Hey guys, me again with another YouTube video. Today we're going to be looking at a very interesting MOC, and I'm just going to get comfortable here. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time for the sudden drop in quality of the video and whatnot. Unfortunately, I will have to record this one off of my phone because I'm going to be busy all day tomorrow and all day Sunday, which means I need to do this video now. And unfortunately, my action camera, the one that has actual decent quality and can record in HD, is currently charging, and I don't have another 3 hours to wait. It's already 11:33, so I'm just gonna have to do it off of my camera, and I apologize for that. Now then, today we're gonna be looking at BJI Industries M4 PDW 5.56 by 45 once more, but instead this is the Mark II version. Now then, what inspired me to build the Mark II version was a guy who goes by his name, Brandon S. Go check out his YouTube channel, link will be in the description. And he took the original M4 PDW and built it in real life without any instructions, only going off of my video, and outlined two problems that I did actually contemplate when I was building the model, but I didn't think would be that much of an issue. So when he outlined both of those problems and brought them to life and basically made it apparent that they were an issue, I went ahead and I addressed them in the Mark II version, and it really paid off and it looks great. So without further ado, unveiling BJI Industries M4 PDW Mark II. Now then, the first difference that you guys probably noticed was the stock. And then the second difference was probably the white and black and dark blue paint job. Stock is dark blue. And then the lower receiver is black and the upper magazine are white. Now then, so just a few differences about this model right off the bat is just how gorgeous it looks. The white, black, and then the dark blue. It's almost got the same type paint job that the Peacekeeper had from Black Ops 2, and it's just a nice complementary. You understand what I'm trying to say. They just fit nicely together, and they make it look really, really good. So I went ahead and went with that. And so the first thing that we're going to start with is we're going to start with the front of the gun this time instead of the back. So starting with the muzzle brake, we have an AK-74U styled muzzle brake. It's kind of got the flared out on either side, and then the actual barrel itself comes out at the end. And then we come into the reinforced handguard. Now then, this is one of the issues that was addressed in Brandon S.'s video when he built it, was that the middle of these bars that run along here had the tendency to bend inwards when you applied pressure to them. So the first thing I did was, instead of leaving them with only one stud on the outside, I made it go throughout the entire length of both of the studs that are here and both studs that are here. I reinforced it on the outside here, and then I also gave it a back layer on the inside to reinforce it some more. So now then it's a whole three layers, which makes it one whole just normal brick like this one here. So that should be pretty reinforced. I don't see it caving in anytime soon. As you can see, inside the handguard is the barrel itself. So you got this wide open vent on top and this wide open vent on bottom for any heat that might be coming off of this from a very intense firing. And on the sides here we got some silver pins just for some details, kind of like some screws. You have some sloping up off the top, and then you have some sloping down at the bottom. Now then, before we go any further, this little oval looking thing that reminds you of a fence from Lego is a front sling mount for your front of your sling, obviously. This little piece right here that kind of curves down is a part to make sure your hand doesn't come up in front of the barrel, so you don't shoot yourself, basically. So it kind of curves down and your hand will fit into the curve, and then it probably won't slip up in front of the barrel. If it does, you'll probably shoot yourself in the hand, and it's probably not going to feel good. So that's just there for any cautious reasons. You'll see it a lot on H&K MP5s or MP5Ks, the ones with the front forward grip. They also come down with a little lip like this to make sure your hand doesn't wind up in front of the barrel. Also underneath the handguard we have our tactical rail for any foregrips that we might mount, maybe some lasers or some flashlights, and we have some more sloping here on the front. Now then, you may be asking, why didn't the slope continue all the way back down these 4? So 4, 4, 8. So why didn't it continue all the way down here? Well, that's because the stock actually runs the entire length of this section. The throat's getting a little dry, sorry. But the stock runs the entire length of this model, so it's already an incredibly long stock because it runs literally from here to here, not to mention what's already here. So I basically took care of the issue of not having enough room, or maybe you have really, really long arms. So I took care of that issue, so no worries. But we're going to demonstrate that later. The front sight is the same as the other one. It's a front post with the little notches on the side, and it's mounted atop a full-length tactical rail that goes down the entire upper receiver. The back iron sights are a flip-down kind of groove type iron sights. Flip them up. They got the 2 circles, and they just line up neatly with the green notch that you can kind of see right in here. And then the 2 kind of nighttime circles, and then the groove in it that makes a V. And like I said, it folds down, so as you can see, folds down into its nice little thing. And since it can fold down, we can mount an optic without it getting in the way. And we have Brandon Allen's, that's Allen, so Brandon A's red dot sight instructions will also be in the description. And this is a very nice red dot sight. I really do enjoy it, and it just complements the look of the gun very, very well. So that's why I put it on there. Moving on into the full-fledged upper receiver, starting on the left side of the weapon, we have a non-functioning but moving charging or bolt catch. What do I mean by that? Well, if you were to pull back on the charging handle and actually pull your bolt back, it's not actually going to catch the bolt. Instead, it's just going, the bolt will come forward still, but you can move this out and kind of pretend that it works like that. And in a future model, I was planning on doing this so that it actually did catch the bolt. And yeah. Moving on to the right side of the upper receiver, as you can see, we have our shell ejection port. It does not have a dust cover. I don't really care for a dust cover on this model. As long as you can run the gun okay, you should be fine. And what's really interesting about this MOC is that literally right underneath the bolt is the stock. So if you were to pull the bolt back with the charging handle right now, all you would see down here is the stock. In fact, we can do that. So to simulate the bolt coming back, it will go to about there, and your stock is literally right there. So also demonstrating, you can see your charging handle moves with the bolt. So just a quick little demonstration on this. Go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. And that's the bolt moving back and forth. I did leave enough room for rubber bands on the inside, but I did not design the bolts specifically for them. So if I ever do make instructions for it, you guys would have to probably put the rubber bands inside yourself. On the side here, you got 3 little rectangles. On this side, you also have 3 little rectangles that'll break up the general shape of the weapon. Give it just a little bit more detail and kind of its own unique look almost. Coming down into the lower receiver, we have one of our newly designed ambidextrous fire selector slash safety. As of right now, it's pointing on safety, and then you could flip it up pointing this way for semi-automatic, and then you could flip it all the way around to pointing this way for fully automatic. We have our working trigger, which does have enough room for its rubber band. Like Brandon said, the only issue with this one is that there was barely any room to work in here because it's such a small model. So you barely have room in here to put your finger. So this is probably not something you want to use in a cold environment where you're required to wear gloves, because you'll probably not be able to get your finger in there. This little circle here is just for general detail. We have a typical 30 round magazine in here. It's got the gray kind of grooves on the side of it to help with faster reloading so it doesn't fall out of your hand while you're reloading. That was a kind of interesting thing to do. Gives it a nice little interesting unique shape. Always curving a magazine in LDD is fun too. Just a general thing, not every single M4 lower receiver that you see does have this feature, so I just wanted to point it out, make sure you guys didn't overlook it. This feature as well, coming up out of the top, not every single one has that, so just wanted to point that out. And then we have our ergonomic pistol grip, which just leads up into the lower receiver. It kind of comes down at the bottom here and make sure your hand doesn't fall down. Coming up back off into the stock, we have our newly designed stock, and as I said before, it runs the entire length of the weapon, even past the upper receiver into half of the handguard. Literally half though, because this is 8 and this is 8, and it takes up 8 out of those 16. So it's literally half of the entire handguard plus the entire upper receiver all the way through the back that it takes up. So this is a really long stock, and it has this very nice design to it. As you can see, it's got the curve on the butt pad here for your shoulder, fit nice and comfortably. It's got a curve coming down off the origin of the stock, and just gives it a nice look. A pretty simple curve to make actually. And then you got a curve coming back off down at the bottom, just to break up the line so it's not so square when it gets down towards the bottom. Of course, you got the kind of the curve where your cheek would go. As you can see, curve so that whenever you put your cheek up against it, you're not killing yourself. And there's just some little intricate details in here, like these three holes, and the middle one being deeper than the outer two. That's just something to look at. And then I also told you guys that the stock adjusts. Now then, it's kind of a pain to do it here, so I went ahead and opened it up before this video and made it so that it was all the way out. So literally in its longest position, it would end here. And by longest position, I mean there's only one stud of space that this stock is actually holding on to. So that's what I mean by literally its longest position. Now then, I seriously doubt that you have arms long enough to do this, but if you do, I hope it fits comfortably, because that is a lot of stock. I don't have a locking mechanism on this model because unfortunately I didn't get around to doing it, and it was getting kind of late and I do need to go to sleep, so I just kind of rushed through it. But yeah, moving back to the other model. So as you can see, hanging off this side of the stock is another sling mount. So you have two complete sling mounts, just carry it on a sling. Maybe you want to put it in a shoulder sling and kind of drop it down so that you can conceal it inside of your coat and whatnot. And there's just another thing that I really want to point out is that the lower and upper receiver receive no modification, as well as the bolt that is strictly imported from the other model. The only thing that had changed about the lower receiver is the fire/safety selector and this little circle pin thing right here. That's literally the only thing that I've changed about the entire upper, lower, and bolt assembly. The other things that I changed were the rail on top, the handguard barrel, the magazine I did change, and then the stock, of course, was something else that I changed. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All in all, this is a pretty good weapon. If you guys want to see more of this weapon, go ahead and go check out my website. Link will be in the description below. Check it out. Support me. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. Basically, if we can raise enough money by the end of this year, I'm planning on going out and buying a crap ton of Legos, and hopefully they'll get here and I can start making real-life guns instead of LDD ones where you guys don't really get to see any of the features being performed to their fullest extent. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe for more videos like this one. See ya.